Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of Decoding Branding with Divyasha. In this episode, we will dive a little deeper into understanding how you can work on building your personal brand as a founder on LinkedIn. To talk more on this topic, I have got someone who has been running her personal branding agency for the last 1 year and is handling more than 53 LinkedIn profiles as of now. She is none other than Unnati Pagga. Hello, Unnati. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, firstly, for accepting my invite and coming to my podcast. Thanks a lot. This actually means a lot to me. And we have come a long way from taking that first consultation call with you to now, oh God, having you on my podcast.
Yes, that is exactly life coming to a full circle.
Yes. So you have been into the personal branding space for almost more than 2 years now. And you went on to building your personal brand, and now you're helping more than 50 founders globally, build their personal brand. So today we'll just dive deeper into understanding how you have been able to help all of these founders. What are, some of your key takeaways from the profiles that you have been handling? So let's get started.
Absolutely.
The very first question is, when is the right time, according to you, for a founder to hire an expert to support them build their personal brand?
Okay, so there are 3 things to consider. The first is you should have a vision. Now, a lot of clients come to us because their friends are doing personal branding. They want to do personal branding. And then these are the people who get upset with numbers going up and down. So having an ulterior motive to start with is very important. Of course, you can just jump into the game, then numbers should not affect you. But when people come to us, when founders come to us, primarily they have 3 reasons of coming to us. A, they want more leads. B, they want funding. C, they want better people to join their company. So employer branding, right? So if you have an ulterior motive, then it just sorts your game. It tells you what you have to post. What do you want to stand for online? So that's the first thing. Second is you should have adequate time and money, which means, see, you will get personal branding strategies starting from $500 going up till $10,000. But you have to understand, if you have 6 months fund for it, because before 6 months we cannot render results, and you should also have time for it. If you're not giving half an hour to 1 hour every week, then it gets very difficult for your personal branding expert also to get a gist of what your personality is, what happened this week, and keep your profile overall updated. So once you have an agenda and you have time and money, the third thing is to also understand what is your USP, what is your voice. So if I have a co-founder and your personal branding strategist would help you to develop that voice, but you have to develop that, right? So that is a non-negotiable. You cannot be like, oh, make me like this person online. No, you have to understand your USP and then become that. So if my co-founder and I have the same services to pitch for, because we are getting leads for the same company, we have the same team, we have the same case studies, yet if you'll go to her profile and you'll go to my profile, you will understand the vibe difference, right? And that is very important. You should identify what do you envision as your vibe, right? I will never talk about money, etc., to a very deep extent, but a lot of people do, right? From my industry. So we have to understand what is their vibe and what is my vibe and stuff like that. Sometimes talking about money is fine for me, not every time, not every post, not every hook, right? And then you have to make all these non-negotiables around tonality for yourself so that it's easier for you to navigate through these social media trends and whatever we call. So that these are the 3 points to consider. First, your ulterior motive. Second, time and money. And third is your voice, or what do you want to stand for, or your USP.
Great, fair enough. So now that you've already mentioned, a brand voice that a founder needs to develop as a part of building their personal brand, how do you decide on the content pillars for the LinkedIn content? Because a commonly asked question is that, do I just talk about my business, or do I talk about my personal life, or how should I, strike that balance? So how do you go on dealing with these questions?
All right. So a LinkedIn funnel, consider this funnel. Now there's top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel, right? Top gets you engagement. Engagement is likes, comments. Middle gets you followers, and bottom gets you sales or gets you near to the ulterior motive that you have, right? Now in this funnel, the top one has to be generic content to attract more engagement, which is talking about entrepreneurship, your challenges, your highs, lows, wins, losses in the recent past, right? You write about them. And because these are generic topics, a lot of people on LinkedIn would relate to it. And that is your top of the funnel. This will get you likes and comments. Middle of the funnel is when you talk about your industry. So if I'm in personal branding, I'll talk about LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. How can you leverage this to build your personal brand? How can you make money out of your personal brand? When I'm talking about the industry, that is middle of the funnel. And that will get me followers, because now these people who have engaged with me also see that I'm an industry expert, and then they follow me. And then is the sales content. Now I want leads. So I'll post case studies. I will post what's happening inside my company. I will make a very rosy picture of how my team is helping so many founders curate their personal brands week on week, right? So all that is for my sales, right? So this funnel situation, you cannot skip on any part. You will need engagement to get followers, and you'll get followers to get sales. So all these three kinds are important.
Great. So you can't miss out on any of them. Like you have to follow through the funnel and get them to your sales funnel.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Great. How do you deal with any sort of resistance from your clients, when you ask them to take unconventional route to experiment with their profiles in order to get more engagement or meet their ulterior motive?
We don't push them. We tell them what has happened with another 50 people who have probably aimed for the same thing. And if they accept what we have already done, what's rendering results, then that's fine. If they do not accept, we simply tell them that the numbers would be compromised. You came to us after seeing our case study. If you want this case study to become your case study or even better, please understand that we are in the industry and we're doing these things and we need to do these things. If you do not agree with it, it's perfectly fine. Your profile would take more than 6 months to grow, but it will grow, right? But then have that, again, time and money and reassurance that you've trusted the right people and they'll do what you want, but then it will take a little more time than other profiles that they have built. That's it.
Okay.
So there's no convincing, there's just pure numbers kept on the table, and then you have to decide for yourself.
All right. So how much do you think should the founders, who are building their profiles on their own, should experiment with their profile while building their personal brand?
So initially, for the first 3 months, go crazy with experimentation, because nobody knows you and your one experiment might lead to virality. But eventually what we say is, after 3 months, keep 20% as experimental content and 80% as fixed content, because now your audience expects you to post something. See, if I'm known for finance content and if I'm not posting finance, I'm just posting meditation, my audience will stop engaging and eventually unfollow me. So to do a sanity check on your profile, 80% should be what you've always been speaking about and has been working for you. And 20% experiment. Do personal stories, do carousels, talk about other things, other aspects of your life, books, business, whatever. But 80% is constant after 3 months. First 3 months, experiment as much as you want.
Okay. Now, in terms of experimentation, should it just be an experimentation with content pillars, or should it be an experimentation with the types of posts? Because LinkedIn has been recently going all crazy with its algorithm.
Absolutely. So basically, you can experiment on content pillars, you can experiment on post types, you can also experiment on tonality. That sometimes you're very affirmative, sometimes you're just asking a question. So, and stuff like that. So you can experiment how your audience likes you to be. When I'm vulnerable, people like me more than when I'm authoritative, right?
Yeah.
So you have to identify these kinds of experiments also. You can experiment with your CTA, right? Comment and I'll give you something, or just comment and tell me your views and see what works with you, right? So you can experiment practically with anything and everything. But the basic is, people don't usually move content pillars a lot, but content types tonality, and CTA. CTA is call to action, which you usually put at the end of your post to sort of get an action from your audience. Okay, you're done reading, but now comment, like, share, do something so that there's engagement on my post. Yeah.
Great, great. Fair enough. Now that we're talking about the post types and everything, I want to ask you, what is your take on the latest talk about posting irrelevant pictures along with the post to grab the eyeballs? And
Okay.
what would be your... Okay, I'll ask it once we're done. No worries.
Okay. All right. So, see, that's the thing about having somebody on your podcast who loves speaking. So now they'll just start answering without any timing. But yeah, see, I was very active on certain pictures, irrelevant stories. And though I had the potential to grow to like 1 lakh followers, I stopped posting. Facebook became irrelevant. Instagram, people used to love pictures, but now videos are trending.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who started posting with me have a little more followers, although very less engagement as compared to my profile, because they started posting pictures earlier than I did. Every platform is going to evolve, and that's the reality. And now I am with the pictures trend because I've already left so many platforms because of not following what was working on them. Given that I am a social media strategist, I am a personal branding expert. If I do see, you have to do justice. Your content has to be A1. Your content cannot be motivational BS every day. Yeah. Right? But if something is working for the algorithm, you actually have to bow down because you decided to put your life out on a platform, and now you have to work with the algorithm. If you don't like it, you can just cold email or cold message, right? So Quora had those changes, Instagram had those changes, Snapchat had those changes, and now when LinkedIn is having its time, we're just resisting the change, right? And that's not right. So I am all pro with the photo trend. I, of course, at sometimes I feel, what the hell am I doing? But then that is what is working. That is what is running my team of 10 people. That is what is running my 6-figure business and what is getting subscribers and people for my course, right? Having said that, some things that are non-negotiable for me is just talking about money with every post, because that is very scammy. I cannot crack a 25 lakhs ka deal with 3 steps given in a post. So I'll not do that. I will never just post picture and not concentrate on the content quality. I will not post sales content. So I posted a case study, which did not have a picture of me. It had a picture of the client's account. All these things. So there are some non-negotiables that you keep, but following what's happening on the platform, once you want to grow on that platform or once you've tasted the success on the platform, is important.
So you have to learn to strike that balance and keep your quality content at par. So, correct. However, that I am sure you would have faced resistance from certain clients who are not okay with sharing their pictures on LinkedIn. What is your ideal strategy in that scenario?
It's not a non-negotiable for me. Again, I'll put the case studies forward. I will tell them, let's experiment with what you're saying. Quality content. See, by the way, pictures are not the only way to grow. A lot of quality infographics are also trending these days. So we put that. If that's not working, we tell them that, okay, so what's your resistance with clicking pictures? So they say they don't have time, they don't want to, or they don't know how to go about it. We send our team to their office and get pictures clicked so that they feel packed rather than just being very, into the trend of just clicking their own pictures and sending to us. If that's their apprehension, because I understand where they come from. They're founders, they're not usually accustomed to getting a lot of pictures done until, of course, they're getting a PR done. So with all that said, understand the reason of resistance. Find counter solutions. Counter solutions is infographics, carousels, Twitter screenshots. If none of that works for 1.5 months, the person who's paying you will understand the importance of either removing you or giving you pictures. Yeah.
Fair enough. So what is your maybe a prediction on the upcoming LinkedIn algorithm changes? Do you think it's going to push more videos, more photos? How do you see it going in 2023?
For LinkedIn, the T is yes. So a lot of times people used to think that 4 posts are enough in a week, and that's what we had been following as an agency. But right now we are seeing traction even when people are doing 6 posts in a week. So a lot of content is going to be pushed out. Because for us, we see so many of our peers posting, we think LinkedIn is saturated, but still 1% of the entire population on LinkedIn which is posting, which means LinkedIn is at the cusp of its breakthrough, wherein it will be as popular as Instagram or YouTube in the next 2-3 years. So it's still the right time to build your personal brand. It's important to post more than 3 times a week so that you are on their feeds every day or every alternative day. It is going to be a lot of photo and video content because of short attention span. If you don't want to put a photo, experiment with infographics. And the fourth thing that I'm seeing is finally I can see 1 or 2 LinkedIn pages on my feed, which means they are doing something to get pages out there.
Yeah. The company pages.
Yeah.
Oh, great. My last question to you is, what are 3 do's and 3 don'ts for someone who's just getting started as a founder to build their personal brand on LinkedIn?
Okay, so first thing do is profile optimization, because if your content goes viral, even if it gets 100 200 likes, it's very important for people to follow you, and for that following, a lot of people come to your profile, see what you're up to, and then take that decision. So profile optimization is underrated, but it's very, very important. Second is map out your content ideas at one place. Have like 15 ideas placed at one go, so that you know that you're not talking about the same thing again and again. A lot of times when we are posting there and then, we are writing the post there and then, we don't realize that we're actually talking about the same thing that we talked about day before yesterday, right? So once you have this whole calendar laid out, it gives you an overview of how much are you posting for the engagement, how much are you posting for the followers, and how much are you posting to get sales or meet your ulterior motive or ulterior, the last final goal with this whole personal branding activity, right? So that is second. And third is consistency. That's the only platform I've stayed consistent on, and it has actually given me so much that it's unbeatable. So third is consistency. Again, it's very underrated. People think, oh, everybody talks about consistency. But somebody who's built a fortune out of LinkedIn, I can vouch for consistency on the platform. You will evolve as a writer. You will evolve as a founder. You will evolve as somebody who's putting their lives on social media as a content creator. But consistency will help with that evolution and with your goals, right? So to just stay consistent, have an accountability partner. There are so many things. You can download an app, you can write content with somebody else, announce it publicly. There are 1,000 ways to go about it, but these 3 things are the absolute do's for growing on the platform. Don'ts is looking at somebody else's growth and then comparing. Okay, on their 10th post, they went viral, so I'll be doing the same. That's not how it flows. I remember that there was this guy on LinkedIn who had hit 20K when I had hit 20K. Then he grew to 50K while I was still at 35. And now when my profile is at 54 and he's at 52. And there was this different, there was this time where I was stuck on my 30s when he was in his 50. But that doesn't mean I'll compare. Our journey was not the same, even though we were at 20K when we were observing each other, right? So that's very important. Never compare your journey. Second is for the first 3 months, experiment. And also eventually don't just stick to one thing, because you get bored, your audience get bored, and either they will unfollow you or you will stop posting. So make it an exciting process for yourself. I have been writing consistently for 2.5 years and I never feel out of ideas, right? So it's very important to keep it very juicy for yourself and for your audience, to give them a reason to follow you. And third is don't copy content. So a lot of times when I see somebody's post working that, say supposedly, here are 10 tips to do this, and it goes viral, I'm like, okay, my next post should be 10 posts to do this. But that's not the case. Find what's unique to your personality, your growth, and then write about it. So don't copy post formats, but keep your eyes open on seeing what's trending and what's not. So that's another don't for me.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Unnati. I think that was like the icing, cherry on the cake, the do's and the don'ts that you've just shared. And most of them are actually underrated. So thank you so much for sharing all your expertise here with me and to everyone who is going to listen to this podcast. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you for having me. It was really fun and crisp. And thank you for not asking me how much I make in a year.
Well, that was an insightful podcast with Unnati Bagga, and I hope you feel the same as a listener of Decoding Branding with Divyasha. So do not forget to hit the subscribe button and share this podcast with your friends so that all of you can get started with building your personal brand on LinkedIn. Thank you, and this is Divyasha signing off.